Sometimes we slept under trees when no shelter was available. At other times, kind villagers allowed us to stay in their homes for the night. Those journeys were not simply physical movement, they were symbolic passages from one stage of life to another. Each step taken on those mountain paths reinforced the idea that education required sacrifice, not just from parents, but from children as well. Poverty remained a constant companion. School materials such as exercise books, pens, uniforms, and soap were not luxuries. They were financial burdens. During holidays, while other children rested, I worked to support my education. At around 12 years old, I began collecting medicinal herbs from high mountains, known locally as kalu. The work was physically demanding and often dangerous due to the terrain, but it provided essential income. I would carry heavy bundles for hours, sometimes walking for days to reach places where the herbs could be sold. The money earned was modest, but it carried immense value. It meant continuity in education. It meant reducing the burden on my parents. It meant survival in a system where even small costs could determine whether a child continued schooling or dropped out. One memory remains deeply etched in me. Before returning to school one term, my parents handed me new, 50. It was all they could afford. I accepted it quietly, fully aware of the sacrifice behind it. That money represented more than currency. It represented effort, hunger endured, and choices made in my favor. During the journey back to school, I cried silently. Around me, other students carried far more money. Some bought snacks freely, others purchased supplies without hesitation. I felt the weight of comparison, not out of jealousy, but awareness. Poverty has a way of making children mature earlier than they should. At school, I once used new 5 to buy chewing gum. It was a small act, an attempt to feel normal among peers. A classmate carrying significantly more money asked me to share it, and I did without hesitation. That moment, though simple, revealed something important. Generosity and hardship do not always follow predictable patterns. Character is shaped by experience, not wealth. Despite difficulties, I began to perform well academically. When I placed third in my class, I felt something I had rarely experienced: recognition. I was not the most intelligent student, but I was persistent. That persistence slowly became my strength. However, life was not without mistakes and consequences. During Class 8, I became involved in a situation that changed me deeply. A contractor offered payment for collecting stones from a nearby stream. Hoping to support myself, I joined 2 younger students. We worked hard for hours under the sun, collecting stones and stacking them carefully. It was exhausting, but rewarding in its own way. However, that same day, other students were caught breaking school rules, and soon all of us were summoned for punishment. Fear spread quickly through the school. Corporal punishment was still practiced, and we understood its severity. Despite explaining our situation and believing we had permission, our words were dismissed. The punishment that followed was swift and painful. Each strike carried not only physical pain, but emotional humiliation. Standing there, I felt powerless and misunderstood. It was not just discipline. It was a moment where authority and vulnerability collided without fairness. That night, I could not sleep. A younger student helped treat my injuries using simple ointment. As I lay in silence, I questioned everything: fairness, survival, and the meaning of effort. It was one of the first times I truly felt the weight of injustice in a personal way. Yet even in that darkness, something inside me refused to break. I made a decision that would guide the rest of my life. I would continue studying, no matter how difficult the path became. Giving up would not change my circumstances, but perseverance might. When results were announced later that year, I had ranked second in class. The entire village celebrated. Elders praised me, and their encouragement gave me a sense of purpose I had never fully experienced before. For the first time, I felt that my struggles were not invisible. From that moment onward, academic progress became steady. I continued achieving results that reflected persistence more than talent. By the time I completed Class 12, I had reached milestones that once seemed impossible for a boy from a semi-nomadic family in a remote village. Looking back, I now understand that childhood was not merely a phase of hardship. It was a foundation. It taught me endurance, discipline, humility, and resilience. The mountains shaped my body, but the struggles shaped my mind. Poverty taught me value. Isolation taught me independence. Hardship taught me patience. I did not know then that adulthood would bring even deeper challenges. But unknowingly, every step of my early life had been preparing me for what lay ahead.